All right, so let's look at how languages are divided and how they've changed over time. This is usually presented in what is called a language tree, and I can show you one here that's kind of artsy graphy. And so this is a language tree here. If you go far enough back, you can find that any language in the Indo-European family, which is the largest language family in the world, all of these languages are related to each other. Persian, Punjabi, Bengali, Hindi, Urdu, Russian, Ukrainian, Spanish, Portuguese, English, German, etc., etc. And what basically this says is there's different definitions here, but I like to keep this plain and simple. A language family, that meant languages divided a long time ago. A language branch, they divided a long time ago. A group, decently long ago. And then you're in language, and then you're in dialect. So for instance, let's look at English. Okay, here's English. And you should know just English's makeup as a whole. So the English is in the Indo-European family. Is the largest first language of anybody in our English and Spanish go back and forth, but usually English has the most speakers for sure of Indo-European family. Then, when you're looking at its branch, you can see the tree kind of branches off here. There's Indo-Iranian, is Germanic, is Germanic side of things, and then it breaks down. In English's case, there's actually, and then it goes into groups, and then it's West Germanic and North Germanic, and then it goes further down from there, and here's English. So German is actually a cousin. German is actually a cousin of English, and so to go back here again, it's in the Indo-Iranian family, it's in the Germanic branch, and then in English's case, it's in the West Germanic group. And the subgroup is where it differs. Not all languages, as you can see, have groups. So like the branch for Spanish is Romance, and then it basically is Spanish. And so again, English, Indo-Iranian, Germanic, West Germanic, and then you have English, and then the dialect would be like your American English, British English, etc. Now, one thing of note here is, yes, English does have substantial it is Germanic based, so German is its closest relative of major languages in the world today. But then also it has Romance influences, and that's mainly because of the Normans in France when they invaded, and French is a Romance language. Now, so if you go far enough back, all of these languages could be tied to Indo-European. And Indo-European spread out of the Caucasus Mountain region either through agriculture and trade or through conquest. There's debate over how it spread. But if you go far enough back, you can find that Indo-European has all of these different languages, and it's called Proto-Indo-European. Nobody speaks Proto-Indo-European, or no one would understand Proto-Indo-European. The evidence for these languages being related to each other is in grammar. It's in words that have existed basically forever, like mother and father and things like that. I mean, yeah, some of them are going to sound very different, but this is that language relation of each other. Now, when I look at this world map here, this world map of language families does look at them grouped by family. So Indo-European being the broadest one here. And then if I go to the Eastern Hemisphere, look at this chart first. Sino-Tibetan being a big one, Niger-Congo being a big one, Dravidian being another big one in India. And then Japanese is actually its own language family. I mean, there's just so many different more diversity in the Eastern Hemisphere than the West. But I want to go back to a map that was used previously, and this is the scheduled languages in India. India and Papua New Guinea are usually regarded as the two most diverse places in terms of languages in the world. By the way, this is language families, okay? So Austroasiatic, Dravidian, and Indo-European, and Sino-Tibetan. I mean, that's 4 language families just spoken in India. India is so diverse when it comes to languages. Got to know the breakdown of English. You should be able to know families. They broke up a long time ago. Branches a long time ago. Group a long time ago. And languages are still together as a whole. And then if you remember back to previous, how can you tell the difference between a language and a dialect? Mutual intelligibility.